Hey everyone, it's Marie here again. I'm making another card for the April Small Die of the Month kit from Spellbinders. I'll have a link to the previous video I made using this kit, but I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm doing a color block sort of design on my background, and this is really easy to do. You're just going to do some masking and taping. I'm using painter's tape, and like you saw me do there in the beginning, I just ran it over my sleeve a few times, and that will just kind of take away some of the sticky on your tape so that when you pull it off your cardstock, it's not going to rip anything. You can also use purple tape, and I'll be doing that in this video as well. But I just wanted to show you that you can use this painter's tape or purple tape or washi tape, whatever you have. One thing you want to remember when you're removing this tape is just peel it back slowly on itself, and that's really going to reduce the risk of it warping and peeling your paper and ripping it. And once you've got that peeled off and you want to go ahead and mask another section of your cardstock, you can just go ahead and mask over the place that you've already ink blended on, and then mask over the different sections that you're going to be ink blending. So if you go ahead and you search online color block art or color blocking, you'll come up with a lot of really creative styles and art, and I took my inspiration from a few searches, and I really loved this color scheme. So if you're new to the color blocking thing, you can definitely find lots of inspiration online. Otherwise, all you really have to do is just mask off different portions of your background, kind of in a geometric style. I'm doing triangles, lines, different shapes on this one, and I'm just color ink blending with these different distress inks to create a really fun background. And when you're peeling your tape off, like I mentioned, peel it back on itself slowly so that you don't rip your cardstock. Now you can see I'm using this purple tape, which is a little bit thinner than that painter's tape, so I did get a little bit of line there on the white where some of my ink went off onto the white paper. So just want to be careful about that. But once you peel up this section, go ahead and mask off that section that you just ink blended, and then you can move your tape around. Another thing that you want to think about when you're doing this technique is wiping the ink off of your tape between each move, because if you don't want to get different colors mixed in with your ink, if you want a really good clean ink blending background, you want to wipe that color off of your paper. Otherwise it's going to transfer into this next section that you're going to want to ink blend, and it might sort of muddy your colors a little bit. And I definitely didn't want to get any of that pink into this yellow, because you're really going to notice it with the yellow. It would be kind of orangey around the edges, and I just wanted a really clean, crisp color, crisp lines. And so wiping that ink off of your tape between different moving your tape, will really get you a nice clean background. So I'm done with my yellow here. I'm going to peel that off, again being really careful, peeling it slowly back on itself. And then once I have that tape peeled off, I'm going to go ahead and wipe the ink off again. So I just like to put it down onto my glass mat, wipe it off with a baby wipe, and then I do go ahead and dry it with my towel. If you leave it wet, distressed ink reacts with water and moisture, and I didn't want to ruin my background at all with all of this masking and taping going on. So I'm going to go ahead and ink blend my last section. Now I've been using distress ink, but this color here is a Gina K dye ink, and I chose this Gina K ink because I didn't have a color that I wanted in my distress inks, and the closest color I had is really getting dried out. My distress inks have been working for me for years, and I probably need to update my ink collection, but I've just been holding off as long as possible. So I use this Gina K color, but it works beautifully with the other distress ink colors, and I think it's really great when you can mix and match your brands and your supplies to get more use out of them. So this is my ink blended color block background, and I've gone ahead and I've did some hot foiling on here with my Glimmer system, and I used the polka dot plate, which is one of Yana's designs, and I think it's really fun to add some polka dots just down that left side there. I'm also using the dies from the small die kit of the month from Spellbinders. I've gone ahead and I've cut out this bow here out of gold cardstock, glued them together, and I'm going to add that to my background. I'm also going to add my sentiment by using these words that are included in the die kit. Now I'm also showing you the Glimmer kit for April, which is a bunch of these sentiments that you can cut out on these little rectangles. And these two kits are actually designed to go with the Spellbinders die set, which is called Truckin' Through the Seasons. So those sentiments are actually designed to be license plates that you can put on the truck on that die set, but I don't have that die set, so I'm using these dies in a different way. I want to show you different uses that you can get out of these dies if you don't have that set. And so I'm doing sort of a party kind of theme with the color block. I'm going to arrange these sentiments in sort of a rectangle shape with that bow on top, so it'll look kind of like a present. And I really like how this card turned out. So I've gone ahead and I've cut out 3 of these rectangles, and these are the rectangles that you can layer behind those word sentiment dies. And I'm ink blending each one with the same inks that I've used on my background, so they'll coordinate perfectly. And by this time I'm getting a lot of ink on my fingers, and I don't want to transfer any of those ink to any of my other pieces, so I'm using my towel to hold down these pieces while I ink blend them, so I get a nice clean color on my little rectangles here. So once those are all colored, I went ahead and I cut out the sentiments from some gold cardstock, and I'm just going to layer them on top of those rectangles using some of my journey glue from Fun Stamper's Journey. So I'm putting little dots of glue behind these sentiments here, and then I'm just going to layer it on top of those rectangles. It fits perfectly because they're designed to coordinate with each other, and I'm going to make sure that that sticks, that they're all well adhered together before I start layering them onto my background. So like I mentioned, I'm layering these sentiments on my background. I'm arranging them so they kind of look like a present. They make that shape, and I'm going to glue them down pretty much in the middle of my card background. Now that bow on top, I'm going to adhere that as well, and I'm using some foam adhesive from Fun Stamper's Journey. They have these little foam squares that you can cut. So I'm going to cut down one foam square into 2 little parts, and I'm going to add that to the back of my bow. And the backing paper comes off really easy on these foam squares, so they're really easy to work with. I'm just putting 3 of those tiny pieces behind my bow, and then I'm going to adhere that on top of my sentiments and just make it look like a present. So I really like this gold cardstock. That goes well with the whole color scheme of this card. I like how bright and fun it is. It kind of looks like a party, so you could use this as like a birthday card or something. Mine's just kind of a general, hey, how you doing, miss you kind of card, which I think is really nice right now in the situation we all find ourselves in, just with the social distancing and everything. I think if you have someone you're really missing, or somebody who needs a smile on their face to brighten their day, this would be a great card to send to them. So I'm going to finish this card by adding it to a card base, and I'm adding some of these gold saucer sequins. I don't know what else you would call them, but I think they're a really fun, unique shape, and they really add some shine to my background. So that's the card for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this gives you some ideas and inspiration on different ways to use the small die kit from Spellbinders for the month of April. And please, if you haven't already, consider subscribing, tap the bell for notifications, like, comment, share, just do all the things. And I will catch you guys next time.